Governors and mayors are reinstating new coronavirus restrictions coast to coast and looking for new ideas from places like Saudi Arabia. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom explaining tonight.
We also are considering full disclosure, a little bit of a preview, the notion of a curfew. Now, before you jump in terms of your mindset of whether that's a good idea or bad idea, we are assessing that as well. I have on my desk quite literally 3 studies from France, Germany, and Saudi Arabia, interestingly.
So about Saudi Arabia, they imposed 24-hour lockdowns on major cities and established curfews. For example, people were allowed to leave their homes for medicine and food between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m., but they could not leave their residential areas. There were scores of arrests. In a video clip from April, Saudi authorities arrested 2 men who tried to get around curfew by hiding under a box. People were arrested for driving after curfew and not adhering to other containment measures. Now, Newsom is correct that France is another interesting case study. Most recently, there were epic traffic jams. We showed you them as they were happening, as Parisians were fleeing the city on the eve of a fresh curfew there. 2 weeks later, the number of cases was falling. But then on Saturday, Reuters news agency reported there was a snap increase in new cases and deaths. Newsom, well, he just apologized and says he made a big mistake by going out to a fancy birthday party in Napa for a big-time lobbyist with at least a dozen people from multiple different households. Newsom says the party didn't technically violate the guidelines, but crossed the line in spirit. Tonight, the Sacramento Bee reporting that lawmakers from California and other states are gathering at a hotel in Maui for a conference on COVID policy and other discussions. At the same time, there's a new California order advising against non-essential travel out of state. Well, hello and welcome to Fox News at Night. I'm Shannon Bream in Washington. Aisha Hasni is following New York in the rapid buildup of new restrictions across the country, and many lawmakers who don't seem to be following their own rules. Good evening, Aisha.
Good evening, Shannon. It is starting to feel a lot like it did at the beginning of this pandemic, only this time folks are fatigued, business owners are fed up, and the holidays are around the corner.
In my whole life, I never thought my government would tell me I have to close.
A gloomy holiday season may await millions of Americans as coronavirus cases surge across the country. 18 states ramping up restrictions just in the last week. The latest coming from Philadelphia, where indoor dining is banned at restaurants and bars, and religious gatherings are capped at 5% occupancy.
I wish none of this was necessary, but there's no doubt these changes are necessary.
Michigan taking similar drastic measures, even suspending organized sports. Mark Gotze says small businesses like his bowling alley are not at fault.
We mask up, we spray disinfectant every night. We've had not one case since we opened in September. Very angry with the governor of Michigan.
Leaders trying to prevent holiday super spreaders, but it appears many Americans won't comply. According to a recent Ohio State University survey, 38% of Americans say they will attend Thanksgiving dinner with 10 or more people. In Oregon, families can be fined or even arrested if they're caught eating turkey with more than 6 people.
It's no different than local officers responding to noise complaints for loud parties, for example, and issuing citations as a result.
But for people like Mark Gotze, it might already be too late.
When this is all done, the vaccines are all done, where are these small businesses going to be? They're all gone. They're gone. And they're not coming back.
And Shannon, here in New York City, a 10 o'clock curfew is in effect for bars and restaurants, but owners tell me they fear a total lockdown is imminent and they are desperate for federal aid as soon as possible. Shannon?
Yeah, I'm hearing that in other parts of the country as well. Aisha, thank you very much. Critics say a tweet by the city of Las Vegas is downright Orwellian for calling city workers who are watching to see whether COVID violations are occurring compliance ambassadors. The city's blog about their activities features photos of the so-called ambassadors peering inside storefronts. According to the city, these compliance ambassadors are not enforcing the directive. They observe behaviors and then report violations as they find them.